Okay, thank you for tuning in. This is Sharonda, and this is my podcast, Spiritual Sense, as well as YouTube channel, Spiritual Sense. Today is Saturday, which is September the 17th. And in this podcast, I go over topics in regards to the paranormal, occult, and supernatural. So I speak on topics in regards to angels, demons, spirit guides, uh, out of body experiences, soul travel, astral projection, over pagan belief systems and practices such as Scientology, Wiccan, Santeria, agnosticism, atheism, Satanism. And so I am going to proceed with the topic for today, as I mentioned, which is on a seer. What is a seer? And shaman. So we're going to go over what the definition of a seer is. So as defined by Merriam-Webster's definition, one that sees, one that predicts events and developments, a person credited with extraordinary moral and spiritual insight. One that practices divination, especially by concentrating on a glass or crystal globe. Synonyms: diviner, forecaster, foreseer, foreteller, fortune teller, futurist, prognosticator, prophesier, prophet, soothsayer, visionary. Um, so we're going to speak on seer as well as shaman. And spirit conjurer. So that's what I'm going to title this today: seer, shaman, spirit conjurer. Shaman. A shaman is a person regarded as having access to and influence in the world of good and evil spirits, especially among some people of Northern Asia and North America. Typically, such people enter a trance state during a ritual and practice divination and healing. Okay, so we going to say spirit conjurer. Conjurer. What is a spirit conjurer? Okay. Um, so it says a person that a spirit conjurer is someone who practices what it mentions here, magic. My definition of that is totally different, but I'm gonna go on to this definition. Conjurers in the Bible, it says Isaiah 19:3, tools and the spirit of Egypt shall fall in the midst of it, and I will destroy the conjurer thereof, counsel thereof, and they shall seek unto the idols and unto the conjurers and unto the necromancers and unto the soothsayers. So it mentions about conjurers in the Bible. What does the Bible say about conjuring up spirits? This is not that type of episode, but basically is the ability to bring forth spirits from a part of years ago. Is what a spirit. That's my interpretation and definition of a spirit conjurer. So we're going to get on that onto that. Speaking about that on today's episode. Give me just one moment while I get my daily tarot card reader uploaded. Many people frown upon things such as this, but I think if you are doing it in the essence to for understanding, like if you are someone such as myself who is curious about it, like I don't have um, the desire to do it to cause any harm or misuse or mishandle it, because I do feel like it is a gift that is often it's a delicate gift in its essence. It can be used favorably as well as unfavorably. That's what I feel. Feel that way. Okay. So we're going to proceed to Seer. In just a moment, let me get everything pulled up regards to the Seer spiritual gift. So I'm on the website. It mentions that every person has some spiritual gifts, which over time grow for some people, and some people lose the power of their gifts throughout the process of life. One of the powerful spiritual gifts is soul seeing, and the person who has the supernatural insight is known as the seer. So it mentions the seer seeing souls through four gifts: mediumship, psychic, oracle, and elementals. Number one, mediums. So mediums can see souls and have already found their way back home. They do this by calling in souls. Most souls that have crossed over stay home, observing their loved ones through a screen like a barrier, or connected to their loved ones as spirit guides anchoring to their soul structure to complete a mission or goal. Souls who have crossed over are kind, compassionate, loving, supportive, seek forgiveness for their human decisions, and high vibrational. They do not spite, grudge, manipulate, lie, or guilt. They will not hurt you, drain you, or convince you to cause yourself harm in any way. I don't believe that. I honestly believe that it's to each his own. As you have energies that here now, it's the same in the other sense of the matter. But let me continue on. The medium gift means souls are available for communication on a call like telephone wire. The gift of mediumship is located at the crown chakra. It looks like a portal above the head where the gifted may call upon and pull in souls who have crossed over by creating a door for them. This can be energetically draining if not done properly. If because it is a doorway, and because most of us don't see all, and because so many people use their gifts with no form of training, this portal can also let in negative entities, and the gifted may confuse a loved one for a haunted and negative entity, as they can be deceiving. This is why many mediums never develop their gifts or are scared to use them. So as I mentioned, I mean, with anything in life, it could be favorably or unfavorably. So you have to be the one to say, okay. Number two, psychic seers of the demonic. Seeing demonic entities and removals is a gift in itself. Most mediums are blind to them unless they have the gift. The gift is usually located in the third eye, mind's eye. Most people shut this gift because of fear and damage to the gift structure. Sage and other herbs and plants resins only realign energy to a positive state once entities have been removed by a gift structure. They do not remove the negative entities on their own. It's like spraying air freshener over rotten food, and that is true. If you don't remove the food, the smell eventually comes back. Negative entities simply hide and come back when they can. Removal of an entity is not destructive. One actually has to send them back home. They are like wild wolves loose in our homes. We must trap and return them home where they cannot harm us. That's what it mentions. Uh, so it says there are just as many negative soul groups on the equal and opposite side of the barrier. They function in chaos and destruction. We function in master merger is what it indicates here. So it said they are called in by humans during satanic rituals. They sneak in when people are improperly using their gifts. They're being invited, open portals and gateways and hauntings is what it mentions. So that's that person's interpretation of seer. Um, but I'm going to go on another website. A seer is someone who perceives the spiritual realm with his and her own eyes or in his and her mind's eye. Seers can be adults, but many are children, is what it mentions. Uh, it's not their fault, it's just a gift or ability that some people are born with, or sometimes develop as they mature or have supernatural encounters. Um, so sometimes they speak prophetically. It says it doesn't mean what they see is from God or that their interpretation is absolutely true. It's just revelation about the spirit realm. I'm going to tell you, oftentimes, um, many times in this time in existence, from our understanding, we will refer to that as mental illness because you don't want to give power to something that is not that is apart from what we agree upon as what is normal or right in this sense of the matter. Um, I think in terms of discernment, that's when you will have the ability to understand and know when something is because I think everything is God, whether it be favorable or unfavorable. And I think oftentimes He will test us by way of. So if you see something that is, say, for instance, the verse that reference, Jesus walking on water and things of that nature, and Moses parted the Red Sea and things of the sort. Well, how many times have you seen that? And I'm not going to denounce that you didn't see it or experience it. But what will begin to tell you is that when you have discernment and you begin to expand on your mind's eye, God will put things in front of you, and that is a test. They say it's not coming from God, but ultimately He has to allow it, meaning co-sign on it. So it may not come full right. I do believe there's many gods and goddesses. I do, by way of. So ultimately, um, it is a critical thinking sensibility to get you to critical thinking. Okay? Seeing spirits or hallucinating. The word hallucinated connotes the idea that seers aren't actually seeing anything that is really there. But what if they really do see something that isn't there and something that most of the rest of us cannot see? Okay, just put it this way. I put it all in a nutshell because mental illness, as I mentioned, and this is not to say anything apart from people who have been diagnosed as being mental ill at all. Knock on wood, I'm not. But I'm going to give you a synopsis as to what I feel that is. This is God giving you discernment apart from. So they're going to characterize that as mental ill in a lot of sense of the matter, because when someone is programming you in such a way or such a matter, this is how we say it is, and we're not going to deviate from it, and whatever the case may be. And when you begin to not want to accept that reality, when it's not sensible, meaning it's not reasonable, then they will say that you are mentally ill. So, say for instance, as such as I mentioned about in my podcast when I mentioned it in reference to spiritual branding, how you can be in a state of shock or culture shock when you do things that are apart from your own, and oftentimes you may see where people have been conditioned and programmed to see right as wrong as right, and when you do anything to the contrary to that, then they would begin to say you are what? A troublemaker, a threat, crazy, or whatever the case may be. So this is what I mean when I say oftentimes it will present in the atmosphere. It will perpetuate in the atmosphere. It's a spiritual manifestation by way of. That's what I'm getting at. So we would say hallucinate, and hallucination, in our sense of the matter, we know is more or less external. Like, they're saying something is going on biologically with you, and you can see it like in your imagination or mind's eye. But it also can occur in our physical, tangible sensibility as well. And when you begin to see and be conditioned in your spiritual eye, you will begin to see how certain spirits will gravitate to you, and they will move in such a way that defies how a person would normally move. Only certain people are able to grasp and understand that. Okay. So it says, Seers see spiritual conflict. They can see spirits, auras, multicolored lights, angels, demons, and spiritual phenomena. Scientific materialistic worldview. It mentions, according to Jesus Christ, God's intention is always to bring abundant life on earth, whereas God's spiritual enemies intend to steal, kill, and destroy. The advancement of God's intention is the advancement of the kingdom of God, where God's enemies rule is called the domain of darkness, where these two interact. Spiritual warfare. We are in a spiritual warfare more so than people will know. And this, let me also like to mention, because in this spiritual sense, I do reference to the biblical text oftentimes. But I want to state that this is not a religious nor a biblical podcast, okay? I cannot argue with no one in reference to the Bible, because that's a very touchy subject, such as politics, religion, race, uh, parents, very touchy subjects. So the ability a seer has is to see into the spirit realm, and just that, an ability. It can be a temporary gifting or more permanent state. Um, so this right here is it's I'm reading it. Do I believe in everything that's put on here? No, I'm just using it as a guideline, so to speak. But for those who are a seer and you feel like God has been nudging you in regards to your gifts and your ability, I'm going to say that you should get the book The Seer by James Gold, Goll, or Jim Gold. 8 steps to enhance the spiritual gifts of being a seer. It says fast regularly. Some people may not need to fast. You can fast off sugar, sweets, butter, whatever. It may not be conducive for you to fast from everything. You can fast from relation sex. You can fast from a lot of things that, in other words, moderation. Pray in tongues. It mentions about praying in tongues. I think when you pray in tongues, this is God giving you discernment about the formulation of language and why certain dialects and languages exist as they do. So it would be your own understanding why things are such as that. You'll begin to understand a person who speaks in a different dialect or a different language than your own. Okay. This is to deceive those spirits. This is why you have so many different languages and dialects, because the spiritual realm is such as here. You know, everybody's not going to be for you. It works the same way when you're dealing with those spirits. And when they begin to recognize and realize what you're saying, God will throw a what? That's a way of confusing them to where he's shielding you from understanding or them from understanding. It says get in a church. You may not necessarily want to go to an actual church. You may want to go to a meeting or a social group or where have you. Study the books of Acts. It says understanding um, and need to grow in your gifts. The books of Acts speaks about spiritual gifts. It also gives a verse here, 1 Corinthians 12 through 14. Now be mindful that the biblical text, I feel, is critical thinking. So take caution when you read a lot of that, a lot of the biblical text. It also mentions uh, another verse. I want to say this is Colossians 3 1 through 17 for 21 days. Eat healthier, exercise, practice your spiritual gift. I think when you become very sensitive when you fast and when you begin to read these verses, it will okay. I'm going to give enlightenment to those who are around. Be very careful when you fast and you ask to receive and you read these spiritual gifts. I mean, read these spiritual biblical texts. Because what's going to happen is it's going to unleash and veil the demon. If you are someone that has some things going on with you in terms of the money, it's going to unleash what's going to happen. So this is why me being a spiritualist, someone that I feel intuitive, are aware of that. And many people who experience confusion will see that. Take caution with that biblical text because it's written in such a manner to tell on the spirit. Okay? So let's proceed to shaman. Again, what is a shaman? What is a shaman? Person regarded as having access to and influence in the world of good and evil spirits, is what it mentions. This is 12 signs that you are a natural born shaman. You feel the presence of spirits, workplace, home, when you out and about. Like you can feel energy. This is this is apart from, like, it's enhanced. Um, Feeling words, deeper level. You understand something else may be at play. Like you could just, it's just, I know what I know what I know. It just can't shake it. Number two, you feel a draw to a particular animal. It may not necessarily be an animal. I mean, they're using this in this synopsis. It could be anything. It could be you're drawn to something. In essence, a lot of times it could be something that is not interesting to you or that you haven't partake interest in before. But it mentions animals, insects, birds. I think when they gravitate to you as well. Three, you get woken up during the night. People in spirit, astral world, may notice the shaman and take the opportunity to make contact during the night. You may be visited by spirits. You may be visited by spirits. Oftentimes, this is God giving you discernment about when something is going on. Number four, people come to you for healing and advice. Yeah, people are drawn to you and your warm aura, respect, and trust and advice and judgment. Five, you are sensitive to surroundings again. You feel in your bones, your skin, is what it mentions. You can feel people's joy, fears, pain, and excitement. Yeah. Number six, electronics have a tendency to act funny or go out when you're around. Exactly. Like something is just, I I I, I just can't explain it. I mean, you have instances where you may have mockery, where you may have a situation where there may be some electrical uh short or grounded or something like, no, this is beyond that. And God will give you discernment that it is apart from logic, because oftentimes he will put an image in to where you know what that is. Like you have a high vibrational current and energy pool. Seven, you are very interested in anything psychic, books, TV shows, stories, psychic events, or cards. You're interested in psychic healing, Reiki healing, manipulating energy, divination, or reading energy. Dreaming about dead people. As spooky and unsettling as that can be, that is a gift. Oftentimes, you are visited by people who have transitioned over to give you insight. They will give you clarity about things that in your head you really hadn't thought about. They will give you insight. You are able to spirit channel or conjure. And oftentimes you don't even be thinking about it. That's what's so strange about it. Because all of many times people would say that you open up a portal, and you can't open up a portal to this existence. But there are times where you could just be simply driving down the street, minding your business, and then it just, oh my gosh, I don't care about this. What is so particular about this? Nine, you feel most at home in nature. You connect with the nature, like you can feel the leaves of the life of water, the life of leaves, trees, and such. Ocean, mountains, wind, rain, animals, river, people. 10, you are often having prophetic dreams. Shape, symbolism, symbols, and such. 11, you had imaginary friends when you were a kid. I can honestly say this wasn't the case for me. Number 12, you hear voices. Hear sounds, music, voices buzzing in your own ear. Sometimes you can hear it in the past as well as the future. Now, what you think about that? It was one I heard phone ring. We all get that way. And then next thing you know, you get a phone call. May not be unfavorable, it may be very favorable. Why do I keep da 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 da? I mean, something that may be insignificant to certain individuals. You will have to get the understanding. You have to go through to get the understanding. That is shaman. Uh, I'm going to conclude with spirit channel. I think more people spirit channel than they will know, unless someone tells them so. Those who has had the eyes to see it are able to give that sensibility. More people spirit channel than they will know. That is not a joke. Spirit channeling is first and foremost speaking the messages of divine love. Uh, this right here, it gives an account, but I don't think that is where I'm trying to get at. What is spirit channeling? Connected with the divine, connected to the infinite. It said channeling is when you tune into the guidance and allow it to flow through you. Different ways, methods, and types of channeling. It mentioned about intuitively channeling messages of divine guidance. Seven signs you have already opened up channeling. You find yourself writing or speaking about topics you don't logically, consciously understand. Like and I'm just going to give you an example. Like certain things just come through you and you just speak it out. People may say you crazy, you don't know what you're talking about, whatever the case may be. Making it up? No. You find yourself flowing, speaking, or writing divine guidance, message of love, comfort, inspiration, and wisdom that you haven't fully aligned with in your conscious love, like things you know you don't know. And somehow it's like it's enhanced. This flow of divine guidance may be spontaneously begin when you're talking to someone. It could very well be a message. See, you got to understand we are vessels. We are communication vessels. And if someone has prayed for a sign, you may be that vessel to them. Sometimes that can happen in a favorable sense as well as an unfavorable sense. That's why when you don't gossip, you will know that it's coming by way of a spirit. Whether it be favorable or unfavorable, I do feel as though it is God. Um, you have flashes of guidance and insight that come out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. Ain't nobody called me and told me nothing about you because I'm not concerned about that. Number three, you are able to drop into a state that allows you to access inspiration and information. I kid you not. Like the TV is not on for weeks, and somehow you're able to tune in to some to sensibility of when something is going on with someone. So we can't say that okay by this spiritual communication tool, this mass communication tool by way of TV that you acquired that knowledge. That's why I say the technology is a what? Is a distraction. It is a distraction piece. That means it is to throw off people who don't know spirit. I don't have to use no telephone. I don't watch no TV, listen to no radio, no social media, and all of that. If God wants someone to know something, He would drop it in their spirit. It's just simple as that. Number four, you intuitively know the right things to say to comfort others. I think in most instances, people are like that. But in terms of their own personal thing that they need to hear, you know it's God. I mean, that's the only way you can explain it. Five, you creatively channel energy. Yes, like you may be somebody who can't draw a line, and all of a sudden, with little practice or even interest, you somehow is doing very fine at drawing something. It may not be a perfection, but it's apart from what you are comfortable with doing or used to doing. It's just about channeling artwork, beauty, writing, and energy. Number six, you feel light and energy flowing through you. Like you could just, it's an effervescent flow. Words cannot explain it. Like it's apart from anything else. And I'm not talking, for those who may be mockery that may come in, who don't understand, and a taunted spirit is nothing sexual. Is what I'm getting at. This is apart from that. This is filled with the spirit. Seven, you tap into profound wisdom beyond your current level of cognition. Exactly. Like this is beyond common sense, common knowledge. This is beyond what you went to school for or been trained in this existence. Like this is the ability to relate and correlate why this is this and that is that and that and that. I mean, this is higher sensibility. I'm going to go more into depth as to what spirit channeling is. I think spirit channeling is when people are able to tap into um, the emotions of others. It can come by way of familiar spirits, like when you are able to be presented with, like I could give you an example because my children do it. Everybody does it, and some people, would say, "Oh, that's just them," or they just emulate and imitate a note. My son, as well as my daughter, have channeled people that I know they don't know. They don't have no way of emulating them, particularly my son. We all spirit channel more so than we would know. We do. Uh, so we're going to, let's see. So I said I was going to speak on seer, shaman, spirit channel. Spirit conjuring, by my definition, is similar to spirit channeling, but it's more or less, uh, you know, picking up on a soul from years ago, like an old soul from years ago. You have somebody that probably spirit channel Cleopatra, spirit channel a leader, a political figure, a singer, an artist. You may have imitation of marker, but I'm saying this here, you would actually see it before your eyes, like you would know the difference between mockery and imitation. Spirit channeling is like, this is the sensibility of this person. This is it right here. This is not no acting. This is in part. Like God has put this person in part to provide discernment and clarity to someone. You would know imitation. Imitation is a ploy. It's mockery. Spirit conjuring is a gift. It's a gift. A lot of people will say that that's devil's work. You don't partake in stuff like that. We won't acknowledge that. We won't pay that any attention. But to spirit conjure is a gift. And I think a lot of people that are in, I think certain people that are in the entertainment industry has the ability to do that, do as such. It's gifted. Okay. So I am going to conclude this episode of Spiritual Sense podcast as well as YouTube channel, speaking about seers, shamans, and spirit channeling. So if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, or if you have a topic for a show, you're more than welcome to comment below. Till then, you have a safe and wonderful day. Good day.